It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
He's Eric Harley. I'm Gary McNamara. We are Red Eye Radio.
Yes, we are.
Good morning. Welcome to the Monday show. So just reading this headline here, Hunter Biden's lawyers to meet prosecutor Weiss as special counsel remains unnamed by Garland. You know, it was last week, on last week's show, and I was thinking about, because I saw that, well, it's time now for a special counsel. And the thing I thought was, wait a minute. If you get a special counsel, then nobody will talk about this for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, special counsel's investigating everything, and it's going to take 3 years. I mean, where's Durham? It will give us an indication. That's well over what? Is it 3 years this coming? Will it be 3 years this May? I believe it'll be 3 years.
I was thinking more like
4?
103 years.
Okay. I think it's 3 years a Durham investigation has been going on. And if you have a special counsel, that means the Republicans can't be, bringing, people down to have them under oath and speaking under oath. You get a special counsel, this delays it. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but where is the power of the Republicans in Congress to subpoena witnesses in their investigation? A special counsel, everyone will testify and say, I can't testify because of the special counsel investigation. And we can't interfere with the investigation. Nobody will speak at that point.
Yeah.
A special counsel in this particular case would only delay it.
Right, yeah.
Would delay us finding out anything all the way through the next election. I think that the president would probably like a special counsel more than anything on this, because it delays it another couple of years. And Hunter Biden's like, well, yeah, we've gone 5 years so far. Why not go more?
And obviously the play would be, and always is, it's the Department of Justice that would assign the special counsel, not the White House. So the White House then would say, well, we can't comment on anything that the Department of Justice is doing. We defer you to the Department of Justice, and you probably won't get a comment from them because there is a special counsel that is now assigned to this. And other than that, we're not going to talk about it. And even in the assignment, you're not going to say much. I don't know how they could word it in the actual assignment from Merrick Garland's office, but you can word it so that it basically, puts this thing on a shelf until far after the 24 election.
That's what I mean. I'm reading this right here from Breitbart. And just because they have a conservative leaning, I think it's important to read it. Hunter Biden's lawyers will reportedly meet in the coming days with U.S. Prosecutor David Weiss and one Justice Department official after an IRS agent alleged the improper politicalization of a tax probe into the president's son, all while Attorney General Merrick Garland refuses to name a special counsel in the case. So you're saying, okay, we can't trust Garland because he's trying to stop the investigation, so a special counsel takes over everything. Well, then the special counsel starts from day one, 3 months from now, after they're appointed and get everything going, and it goes on for the next 2 years. No charges are filed because the special prosecutor has to go through and look at everything. So, I mean, anybody who's calling for a special prosecutor, I guess my question would be, is that the right way to go in this case? Or does the American public want answers? And does the Republican Party wish to force answers now in the public from the people that are involved in this? And has their investigation, is it time that the investigation, because that's what you'll hear, well, the Republicans can't come out with their investigation. They can't come out with all of their evidence and witnesses because the special counsel's looking over everything.
It really is, honestly, is the only answer for this whole thing to temporarily go away. you're going to shelve it for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
If not longer.
Since as far back as May 2019, Hunter has been under investigation by the DOJ for tax fraud, money laundering, and violation of lobbying laws. Federal prosecutors led by Weiss have reportedly considered charging Hunter over a year ago for 3 tax crimes and 1 gun crime. And as we know, this is reported last October that the FBI, it's been over a year, where they claim that, and in the IRS, that they claim that they've decided that, yeah, there's enough evidence to prosecute and it's just sitting there. Well, then you put a special prosecutor in to investigate it. Another 2-3 years goes by.
Can you assign a special prosecutor to a civilian?
I don't understand what.
Because it would be Hunter Biden under the microscope.
Oh, okay.
Who doesn't hold office.
Okay. Well, because I think at that point, if you appoint a special counsel, it's because it's the president's family.
And there's the the weight of assigning a special prosecutor.
Right.
And that is, you're looking into whether or not the president is compromised.
Yes. Yeah. I guess you would have to make that clear, would you not?
Well, that's what I was saying about.
Maybe that's why they wouldn't want to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying about
that's a great point.
The assignment is, and it can be a sometimes a one-page assignment. But the assignment by the Attorney General, in this case Merrick Garland, would effectively have to say what they're looking for.
Right, because if you're just looking for crimes of Hunter Biden outside of Joe Biden, that it's only Hunter Biden you're looking at here, well, then you can make the case that a special counsel isn't needed. But if you appoint a special counsel, you have to explain to the American public it's because you're the Attorney General that's been accused of stalling this, and the belief is that it somehow rises to the level of the president, and that's where your conflict of interest is the president. Because what it is all the time is, it's Hunter Biden, but Hunter Biden was the conduit of the money for the Biden family and therefore Joe Biden.
Right.
The peddling was done by the peddling was done by Hunter Biden. Who they are attempting to influence is Joe Biden.
Correct.
And so, that's a great point you brought up, because if the Attorney General says a special counsel is needed, then the target is the president. Ultimately, that's what you're painting.
And you're going to have to spell that out in the documents that are the official assignment of the special prosecutor.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do that.
Oh. Did you see the New York Times piece last week talking about how great it is that, that Hunter Biden is now going to be more actively campaigning for the president. It's just like you're reading this and you're like,
you're totally clueless.
I'm reading this article about this, wonderful, because Hunter Biden now is going to be more involved in helping to strategize for his father. And I'm just reading this going, and sorry, but I have to say it. Is everybody on acid over there?
Yeah.
When you're reading this, you're like, stop it. This is the Babylon Bee. No, it's a New York Times.
I don't know anyone who isn't named Hunter Biden that has ever made the case that it's good that Hunter Biden is getting more involved in anything. It's so contrived. You're having to go way out of your way to build excitement for the idea of Hunter Biden being more involved. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, you're overplaying it. Way overplaying it.
Wow.
Yeah. Seriously. I mean, I know it's legal in New York now, but maybe you wait till at least after lunch to get high and write an article. Because you must be smoking something if you're making that case. Maybe you're smoking it with Hunter Biden.
All right, so I had to go to the Babylon Bee because I just mentioned it. So,
all right.
Are you ready?
What do you got?
Chicago mayor warns that if local Walmart locations close, people will have fewer places to shoplift. Oakland A's forced to move after another homeless camp pops up on the first baseline. Bloodshot-eyed, grinning Elon Musk says 420 was awesome, and also, has anyone seen his rocket?
Because that happened on 420. Yeah.
Buttigieg calls on Department of Transportation to address inequity by using more gay crash test dummies. Oh, man, wow. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And there it is, some of the Babylon Bee headlines.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, will be interesting to see where this week goes. The weekend, I mean, if you think of the Anthony Blinken story, which hit over the weekend, the Bragg thing really just has everybody scratching their head. Okay, what's the play here on, from Jim Jordan or Bragg, and I guess we'll find out soon enough. But really, the Anthony Blinken thing, that he is the one who orchestrated essentially the initial cover-up of the Hunter laptop.
Yeah, that he's the one that instigated it.
Instigated the whole thing, and corralling the former intel officials to write and get on board this letter that it was.
Well, I mean,
the Republicans can't get off the Russians, can they? With the Russian hoax and this whole, it's Russian disinformation. They wrote and signed off on the letter. It was 51 former intel officials, and now word came from one of them that it was Anthony Blinken, who is now Secretary of State and was then a campaign advisor for Biden, who put that all together.
Hope Russia doesn't file a defamation lawsuit against the Democrats.
And they win.
Trump couldn't. No, somebody wrote to me and said, if on the Dominion Fox thing, and said, if Dominion got money from Fox, can Trump get money from Hillary?
Yeah, or the media.
Yeah. It was the media.
Yeah.
And I don't know if can't remember if I wrote it back or not. But I know I did. Okay, because in my mind it was like, he already tried. He already tried to sue Hillary, and that didn't go through. And I can't remember.
He threatened some media lawsuits. I don't know if he went through.
Yeah, I don't know if because you're right. I did write back, and I said he might want to try after the Dominion Fox lawsuit.
Right,
he might want to try again.
Right.
On it, because if you word it right, you look at the Hillary campaign to begin with, and it was all a setup. You think about that. If you talk about defamation, and you talk about people just stating something that is false for a financial reason, and then you see the enterprise that was created to actually create the lie and finance the lie. Again, you're talking with major public figures going back and forth and doing doing opposition research isn't against the law, but they created and sold a lie that they knew was a lie.
Right.
And they actually sold it to the FBI. And then you go to the other enterprise, which was the I can't think of it. Can't think of his name. The Baker. If you go to the whole Baker one, where they created another lie, the whole Alpha Bank thing, and tried to sell that to the FBI.
Right.
That actually made the media, and you created and financed that lie. I still think I think. Now, maybe a legal expert would say I'm wrong. I still think Trump has a case.
Yeah.
If Dominion has a case and to get probably one of the biggest lawsuit rewards ever, then why doesn't Trump have a case against the Hillary campaign?
No, it's a good question. And I know he filed his suit. It didn't go anywhere, but it was he lined it out. And maybe the premise for the suit was wrong.
I'd like a defamation, if there was a defamation lawsuit expert, to tell me why Dominion could successfully. I mean, they didn't win they settled.
Right.
But the fact is that's because Fox thought they had a case.
Right. Yeah, that's a huge, and the size of the settlement tells you. I mean, that's a big.
Exactly. But why can't, what's the difference? Why? Because Dominion was viewed as a public figure.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't Trump? What would be the legal difference between Dominion and Fox and Trump against Hillary Clinton and all the other media?
Right.
But the thing you have of the Clinton campaign is they knew.
Yeah.
Because they created the lie.
Right.
So they knew it was a lie.
And after taking it to the FBI, then they went to the media and said, look, the FBI's looking into this.
Exactly. Unless the statute of limitations is up on it.
I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either.
There was the more coverage on the Smartmatic suit. They don't expect that to go to court, apparently, until maybe 2025. They believe. I don't know. It is, first of all, this one is in New York, but I don't know why they don't expect that to happen until 2025. But Smartmatic has been very vocal since the settlement came out with Dominion and Fox News about, we're going full steam ahead. $2.7 billion lawsuit.
And they're going after Newsmax, too. But Newsmax has actually said, they said, look, remember when in February 21 when Mike Lindell came on and that one anchor walked off?
Yeah, right.
Said, I'm not going to deal with it. They're using that as evidence that we were pushing back.
Right.
And they're actually saying we had guests and we had hosts, and they actually documented it. They're in public. They're letting even people know that these were the people that did it. But early on, I remember there were a lot of Trump supporters that said we're dumping Fox and going to Newsmax. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what their defense is.
Yeah, and interesting to see if maybe Fox is waiting it out between now and 2025. They believe something will change in their favor. I don't know what that would be. We'll see.
866-90 Red Eye.
Last November, Artemis 1 made news for its trip around the moon, the unmanned spacecraft carrying tree seeds from Earth to be further studied and planted upon their return. Yet, as Heidi McAllister of the U.S. Forest Service points out, this was not the first time tree seeds made a moon trip. Going back to 1971 and the Apollo 14 mission.
One of the astronauts, Stuart Roosa, was a United States Forest Service smoke jumper. He decided that he wanted to take tree seeds with him.
Many of those Apollo seeds are now fully grown trees, found all across the country. Yet McAllister notes,
there was not the best follow-up with them. So we don't have lots of really detailed information about how they grew.
With the Artemis moon seeds, though, those trees will be studied in both Forest Service research facilities and on the ground as educational and community organizations receive and plant these species. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report is made possible by Cenex Roadmaster XL Premium Diesel and Citgo Lubricants.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Hurley, and I'm Gary McNamara, 866-90 Red Eye. We talk about what's going to happen this week. Representative Harriet Hagman talked to Breitbart on over the weekend and said that he needs to be called, Secretary of State Blinken, before the Weaponization Committee. It's like he's Secretary of State. His credibility matters.
Yeah.
If he's a part of perpetuating a lie, an election interference lie, to this case, we need to know that. We need to hear from him. Yep. We'll talk more about that coming up.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio. from the Uniden America Studios.
And I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley. Download our Red Eye Radio app today. Listen when and where you want. If you can't listen live overnight, I just happened to go by the news sites here. Figured I would check some of the websites, news sites, before we went off the air today. First thing I come upon, RNC, 32 minutes ago, RNC launches fact-checking website ahead of Biden's expected re-election announcement. How long is that going to be? How big will that website be? Do they need as many servers as Facebook has?
I don't know, but Hillary probably has a server or two that she's not using.
But when we look at what's going to happen this week, I really think you're going to hear Republicans. I think it's going to blow up today or tomorrow. The whole Blinken thing.
No, I think it is.
They can't let. Yeah. They're just not going to let it sit.
Right.
You've got, and one of the I think salient points brought up is the fact that he's Secretary of State. He's the representative of the United States to the rest of the world. And if this is true, if he did this, if he's the one that initiated the letter, that it was politics, and that's what Mike Morell is saying, and nobody is denying that, he's got to explain that and explain that now. Otherwise, he's involved in not only election interference, but he's also involved in a possible cover-up. This is all part of the cover-up of the Biden administration's influence peddling to enrich his family. Mm-hmm. He can't be Secretary of State. There's a legit point to all of that will resonate with the public. And I just believe that there's a point where Republicans, and we played, for example, some of the CBS stuff on this, they're on it. And then ABC eventually gets on it, and then NBC will eventually get it. They'll all eventually get on it because they start smelling blood in the water.
Yeah.
And I think Republicans smell blood in the water at this point because now it's not just Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. Now it's Merrick Garland. Now, We've got somebody who's willing, a senior. I was thinking, what if this thought popped into my mind as we were leaving the other day, and I didn't even tell you this. What if the senior Department of Justice official is the district attorney out of Delaware, Weiss? I went, if that would blow ever. I mean, that just would be boom. And I was like, because I started thinking, who could it be? And I went, I wonder if it's Weiss.
Yeah. Right.
And so, that, with the witness stating that Merrick Garland lied, under oath, and he's been protecting it, that's huge. But Blinken is as big because he was directly involved. According to Mike Morell, he was the catalyst instigator of suggesting a letter and that it was Russian disinformation to get the whole thing started, according to Mike Morell, CIA director under Obama. So you're not talking about, none of these things is talking about Trump.
Right.
And so I just expect the Blinken thing to blow up. But I'm also thinking, what about everybody knows the reaction. Every Republican knows the reaction of Merrick Garland. When there is any bit of pressure, he'll come out with a statement, may not take questions, but a quick statement, even if it's bad, but we'll come out with a statement, then go away. You've heard nothing. There's been nothing coming from Blinken, and that was Friday, and nothing from
Garland.
Garland, which was what?
What day was that when that?
Tuesday last week, Wednesday?
Yeah, it was fairly early in the week.
Nothing. You've heard nothing from them at all. So I think Republicans are going to go after him. I'd be very surprised if both these things didn't blow up. But if Blinken So he in front of the weaponization committee. Sorry, I can't answer executive privilege. Well, no, this happened before. Sorry, I can't. It's still part of what I discussed with the president. Executive privilege. Executive privilege the fifth.
Yeah.
Take both. I'm taking the fifth with I'm taking executive privilege plus the fifth.
Right.
I'm just laughing. It's like we'll come up with any excuse. But I just can't see him testifying before Congress and ever saying under oath that, yeah, I'm the one that directed the letter.
Or will he come up with something like Karine Jean-Pierre does every once in a while when they ask about the president announcing whether or not he's going to run again, and she says she invokes the Hatch Act, which has nothing to do with it.
I know.
And could you see
physics?
Blinken come out and say, "Well, since I was part of the campaign, then I can't talk about it now because of the Hatch Act."
Or physics.
Or you just physics. Or you grab at anything and everything to not have to talk about it. There is no good outcome here because it's already out. There is nothing. I don't know that there's anything. I mean, there is no way for Blinken himself to defend this. What are you going to do? Say that the former CIA director under Obama
is lying?
Is lying?
And if you resign, it may take the immediate pressure off you if you resign.
But it doesn't go away completely.
It still doesn't go away. And then...
doesn't change what you did.
Well, no. Then politically, it's even more damage from the Biden administration.
Oh, yeah. No, this thing is getting worse.
Because Biden doesn't fire anybody or pressure anybody to quit at any time ever.
This is so much worse. Here we are on Monday. And Friday, we always ask the question, can it get any worse? Oh, yeah. I mean... the Friday before that, can it get any worse? And then you bring in A.G. Garland. Yeah. And then last Friday, can it get any worse? And then the whole Blinken thing explodes or implodes, however you look at it, over the weekend. There is, and all of it is about the Hunter laptop thing.
All of it is about influence peddling. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It all relates to influence peddling. And so anything that they do, okay, he quits. Blinken quits. Well, why did he quit if he didn't do anything wrong?
Right.
So he did it. So, and this all had to do, and then the Republicans, if they start tying it in as we have, to just not Hunter Biden, but if you tie into, look, this is about influence peddling to enrich the Biden family, and everybody was involved in the cover-up. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that starts everything rolling. Is it's not the actual crime, even though this could be the possible actual crime, or the influence peddling, because that's still really bad. Americans don't like influence peddling, but then the cover-up behind it. And now what you have in just a couple of days is the fact that the Secretary of State and the Attorney General have been both accused of being part of the cover-up of the president and his family's, the president's of the influence peddling of the president's family, which includes the president and Hunter Biden. And now it's expanded beyond the family to now members of his campaign and members of his cabinet. Wow. So I'm like,
I mean,
this thing's got to blow up.
It really is the rot is everywhere you look. And keep in mind, A.G. Garland stepping out in front of the whole document thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because the question immediately about the documents was, that have anything to do with Hunter? I mean, Hunter had access to the home. There's no doubt Hunter had access to the University of Pennsylvania office.
The Penn Biden Center that Blinken was the manager of from 2017 to 2019. I mean, it's just everything's interwoven into everything else.
and the classified documents that were found there, and he was in charge of that office and is now in charge of the nation's top secrets.
Wow. All right, getting to the Trump-DeSantis campaigns, even though it's only a Trump campaign, technically it's not a DeSantis campaign yet.
Right.
We said it was a bad move for Trump to go after DeSantis on COVID.
Yeah.
And say that the governor was weak on COVID. We said, oh, don't you understand you're opening yourself up to the vulnerability of Fauci? It's exactly what happened over the weekend. Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis took a swipe at former President Donald Trump over Fauci's role during the COVID-19 pandemic while delivering a keynote speech at a Republican event. Quote, a leader must have the confidence to stand all alone if need be, he said at the Utah GOP convention on Saturday. And so for us, as I got into office, COVID presented that situation for us because we were in a situation, the third largest state in the country, one of the highest percentage of elderly, an economy based on tourism, which we needed to travel to continue. So the situation was the threat to our state, but I made the judgment. Leaders take the bull by the horns and make the decisions for themselves. They don't subcontract out their leadership to health bureaucrats like Dr. Fauci, end of quote. He continued. Wow. As we said, it was a bad move for Trump to do that back when he was...
Because there really is there's no win.
No, there is no win.
The back and for anybody, there really is no win. You can't make the case against or for Trump. You can't make the case against or for DeSantis. There's no win there. There isn't until you try and claim a win.
Right.
When you try and claim the win, then everything's going to come right back. It's a boomerang of a topic.
Right.
One of the boomerangs was that the ad, and I don't know if it was a PAC ad or an actual campaign ad for Trump that came out, and it was, Fauci, saying, everything we recommended, they did. Those are the things
for
2020.
For 20, yeah. Okay. Yeah, right.
And
right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, not
right.
current ad.
Right.
And it was like, okay, look, everybody calm down. Early on in the game, nobody knew anything, and nobody was a hero, and everybody was a hero. I mean, it's not. But the moment you try and claim you were, then you're going to have 5 million things thrown at you that will demonstrate that you weren't. And,
one of the things is, Trump was, constantly bragging. I got the vaccine. I got the vaccine. I got the vaccine. I got the vaccine. He can't say that now.
Don't brag about it now.
Can't brag about it now.
I mean, they were mocking him. The left was mocking him at that debate when he said, no, it's going to happen soon. He said, look, I think he said at one point, by the end of the year. Yeah. And they were laughing at him, mocking him that night. And the next day, the liberal media laughing at, no, nobody believes it's going to happen by the end of the year. You got yours in December, did you not? Was it December?
My first one was January 5th.
Okay. No, that's right. You made the appointment in December.
I made the appointment in December, yes.
And so they were rolling out by the end of the year?
Yeah. Oh, they were rolling out beginning in December. Remember
For the healthcare workers.
Healthcare workers, right. So,
and then the elderly.
Right. I mean, the vaccine, though, was ready.
Right.
It was ready to go.
Yeah. But you can't. But now, as your point, you probably shouldn't use that.
No, he can't use that now.
I got the vaccines done.
No,
you probably don't want to bring up the vaccines at all.
So to sit there and argue that point of what happened during the early days on either side is not really going to get you anywhere.
It's not going to get you anywhere.
Unless you're just defending the attack on you, as DeSantis is doing. I don't know if DeSantis would have used this if he hadn't been attacked first. He might have. I don't know, but I just don't. That's a question. 866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara, 86690 Red Eye. You actually went and looked at the special counsel law, and it doesn't have to be a president or a vice president or someone in an administration. It can be just a name. It's actually pretty broad as to what they could do.
Well,
now,
it's
going to be
investigating a matter is what it is,
right?
Instead of naming a person,
right?
But ultimately, the matter
relates
is connected to a person,
right?
Especially something this specific. You know,
yeah. Because that's the thing about Hunter Biden. It's not a special counsel because he robbed a bank,
right? Yeah,
it's this relates because if you do appoint a special counsel, it's relating to the influence peddling, and everybody knows.
Yeah. Yes, the assignment, the letter, the actual assignment would actually tell you what's going on.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.